All right, with Echo now being released, I thought we should go through and do a little comic book background on her, as well as kind of assessing how accurate the show was. Now, as always, I do not care if the story beats are accurate. That is not how comic book adaptations or any adaptations work for that matter. So, I do, however, expect characterizations to be accurate. The show actually has done a pretty good job, but let's go through why and see what we might see in the future based on her comic book appearances. So Echo came to comics in 1999, making her first appearance in Daredevil #9. She also appeared as Ronin in 2011, New Avengers #11. At that point, fans still didn't know who Ronin was. They were just kind of this masked dark figure, and their best guest was Matt Murdock, so of course there had to be kind of a bait and switch. Also perfect because we get an appearance by Hawkeye in the show, who is, as of now, the MCU's Ronin. So in the comics, Maya's still really little when her father dies, and he is killed by Kingpin, so this part at least was accurate. The death scene where he places his hand on her face and leaves a bloody handprint, all accurate, completely happened in the comics. And then Kingpin takes her and kind of raises her as his own. So in the comics, Maya and Matt are actually friends, and eventually they fall in love. Maya is sent by Kingpin to find and exploit the weaknesses of Daredevil. She goes about her mission as Echo, disguised with a white handprint over her face, obviously used to remind her of her father's death. She successfully completes her mission, of course, and the only thing that spares our red-clad hero's life is the fact that she finds out that Matt and Daredevil are in fact the same person. It's Matt who reveals Kingpin's lies to Maya, and in revenge, she does, in fact, shoot him in the face, leaving him blind. The weight of everything that she has done causes her to flee from the US to figure out her life. When she comes back, she tries to reunite with Matt, but he's in another relationship. Feeling lost, she goes to one of her father's old friends who sends her on a vision quest. This quest eventually leads her to Wolverine, who also passes on some wisdom and a new life path for her in the form of Japanese organized crime, which is where Ronin comes from. After this, she does end up taking the Ronin identity full time. She fights with and against the Avengers for a time, and she's actually the one who passes the Ronin identity to Clint. In the following stories, she returns to her Echo identity. She plays important roles in the World War Hulk, Avengers Invaders, Secret Invasion, and Enter the Phoenix storylines, and appears in the 4th Moon Knight series. Considering her ties to Daredevil in the comics, we can only assume that he'll pop up again, or she will make an appearance in his show once it's released. Her powers in the comics are somewhat augmented in the sense that she can perfectly replicate movements. So similar to Taskmaster, if she sees something, then she can do it. She is able to be a perfect concert pianist like this, ballerina, able to fly the Quinjet. That's how she learned how to fight. If she sees it, she can replicate it. Obviously, her greatest weaknesses are fighting in the dark and taking verbal commands, because she relies heavily on visual cues. So if the person isn't directly in front of her, she doesn't know what they're saying. They changed this in the comics a little bit later because, I guess writing deaf people in a visual medium is more difficult, and comic book writers are lazy. They changed this so that she can tell what people are saying if their mask is thin enough, like with Spider-Man, but if their mask is like Iron Man's, she needs someone to tell her what he just said. I think that's a little bit of lazy writing, but it is what it is. Show did a really good job, honestly, like a really good job. I was really impressed with it. So hopefully we get to see more of Echo, whether it be in Daredevil or in a season 2, whatever that looks like. But as far as MCU adaptations go, this might be their best work.